Once upon a time, Salt Bae was the king of viral fame, slinging $1,500 gold-covered steaks like they were dollar menu snacks. But now, customers are walking out hungry, ex-employees are suing him, restaurants are shutting down left and right, and there are even claims he literally set guests on fire during those flashy table shows. His empire's crashing fast, and bankruptcy might be knocking on the door. Let's dive into how this all spiraled. Salt Bae turned one viral meme into a multi-million-dollar flex. He built his Nusret steakhouse empire from the streets of Istanbul all the way to global playgrounds like Dubai, New York, Miami, London, Doha, Mykonos, and even Beverly Hills. But these weren't just bougie restaurants. They were full-blown gold-dusted circuses. He was out here selling $100 burgers like it was regular, $1,000 tomahawk steaks with gold foil like it was seasoning, and $99 milkshakes filled with edible gold flakes. That ain't dessert. That's a dentist bill waiting to happen. But still, the hype was real. People didn't care. They lined up, credit cards ready, just for the clout. Celebs were all over it too. Leonardo DiCaprio, David Beckham, DJ Khaled, they all showed up for the moment, recording those slow-mo clips of Salt Bae sprinkling salt like he was performing brain surgery on a $3,000 cow. It wasn't just food, it was a spectacle, a flex, a status symbol. Business was booming, the hype was insane, and Salt Bae's name was hotter than his grill. The vibes were viral, the cash was flowing, and every night looked like a movie. But just as fast as it took off, it all came crashing down hard. The clout dried up, the food lost its charm, and lawsuits started raining like confetti at a bad party.
Is it so expensive?
We are not expensive. This is, perception, not reality. Our product, best of the best.
Behind all that golden steak shine, the empire was rotting from the inside. Let's start with the chaos behind the scenes. The employees. In one explosive lawsuit, 4 former workers claimed Salt Bae was straight up stealing 3% of their tips. And when they called him out, he fired them on the spot quicker than he slices through a ribeye. These weren't just salty ex-staff either. They painted a picture of Salt Bae as a control freak with a full-blown dictator complex. They even compared him to Tony Montana. Say hello to my little steak type energy. One said he didn't care one bit about labor laws, that he'd embarrass staff in front of guests and treat workers like plastic forks. Use them, toss them, forget them. One employee said working at the London branch felt like being stuck in the Hunger Games. Every shift was survival of the fittest. One former manager didn't hold back. He said Salt Bae lives in an Instagram fantasy, obsessed with fame, thinking he's some kind of god. But this wasn't just a random HR complaint. It was a full-blown pattern of mess. In 2023, Business Insider dropped a bombshell expose. 9 ex-employees from 6 different restaurants came forward with shocking claims: wage theft, discrimination based on nationality, and pressuring female staff to wear revealing clothes. Add verbal abuse and random firings to the mix, and it was a recipe for disaster. It was like if Hooters and the Wolf of Wall Street teamed up to open a steakhouse, but instead of cash raining from the ceiling, it was lawsuits and complaints piling up. And let's keep it real. The food, mid at best. People weren't there for the flavor. They were dropping $1,000 just to flex on TikTok. But once the clout faded, so did the crowd. By 2024, 3 of Salt Bae's New York spots had shut their doors, including Salt Bae Burger, the joint that thought $99 gold flake milkshakes and $100 burgers were a good idea. Bro was out here flipping burgers like they were billionaire delicacies. And get this, his London flagship, it once handed out bills bigger than college tuition. But now, profits down 48%, sales dropped 31%, and in a desperate move, they cut the heating during a freezing UK winter just to save money. Guests were shivering in their designer coats while paying $630 for a tomahawk steak. Oh, and on TripAdvisor, that London location ranked 14,570 out of 15,700 restaurants. That's the bottom 4%. Even frozen dinners are getting better reviews in Greece right now. His once buzzing steakhouse used to pull in 600 bookings a day. But now, it's down to just 200. That's a 67% nosedive. Salt Bae's empire is bleeding customers like a rare steak on a paper plate. Messy, fast, and hard to watch. And don't even get me started on Boston. That location didn't even last a week before getting shut down. Why? Violating COVID rules, blocking fire exits, busted fridges, broken dishwashers, and overcrowding like it was a club on New Year's. But Salt Bae just kept digging his own hole. In January 2024, he flexed a bill from his Dubai restaurant that added up to more than $150,000 for one meal. He captioned it, "Money comes, money goes." Yeah, bro, mostly goes. That post exploded in his face. The internet clapped back hard. Comments like, "This could feed 100,000 kids," and "shameful during a global recession" flooded the post. People were disgusted, and it wasn't the first time. Let's not forget when Salt Bae served gold-covered steaks to Venezuela's president while the country was starving. A leader eating $1,000 meat while his people couldn't afford rice? That was a PR disaster heard around the world. This right here is the core issue. Salt Bae's empire was never about flavor. It was clout, stunts, and self-worship wrapped in gold foil. But even social media is turning its back now. By the end of 2023, his Instagram growth tanked. He was actually losing followers. Back in 2018, things took a terrifying turn at Salt Bae's Istanbul restaurant when a flashy fire show went horribly wrong and 4 tourists were literally set on fire. Because nothing says luxury dining like walking away with third-degree burns after dropping $1,200 on a steak. One of the victims, a Czech model, suffered burns over 35% of her body. It was a nightmare. And how did the restaurant respond? They reportedly deleted all the footage and ghosted her completely. Like it was a bad Tinder date. No apology, no accountability, no compensation. She was left with scars and hospital bills, and Salt Bae, he paid out $230,000 in settlements, but not to her. That cash went to others, while she got left in the dust after fighting for years. But Salt Bae's problems don't stop at bad business moves. He's also been caught clowning in public. Let's talk about his most cringe moment yet. The 2022 FIFA World Cup final, Argentina had just beat France. Emotions were high, Messi was tearing up, the world was celebrating, and then, boom! Out of nowhere comes Salt Bae, slithering onto the field like he was part of the squad. He didn't just sneak in, he pestered Messi for a selfie, grabbing his arm and pulling at him like a desperate fanboy. He didn't stop at just crashing the pitch. Salt Bae snuck backstage at the World Cup like he was part of the squad. Messi's face said it all. Who is this guy? And why is he all over the energy? Then Salt Bae had the nerve to grab the actual World Cup trophy, kiss it like he just scored the winning goal, and even bit a medal like he'd found treasure at a pawn shop. Bro was acting like a player, when all he did was sprinkle salt on some steaks. And FIFA, yeah, they weren't having it. They launched a full-blown investigation.
Why did you go onto the World Cup pitch after the final, touch the World Cup, and kiss the World Cup? What were you thinking?
You know, I love Argentina, I love football, and this is the accident. Before I don't know the rules, now I know the rules. Next World Cup, I never touch the World Cup. I go to, of course, stadium, see the match, but I never touch again.
And long story short, he got banned. That field was supposed to be sacred, and Salt Bae turned it into a photo op. He tried to play it off saying, "Oh, I didn't know I wasn't allowed." Really, man? You didn't know you can't just run onto the World Cup pitch and hijack the spotlight? But guess what? He kept making it worse. At the Champions League final, Salt Bae tried sneaking in again. Security wasn't playing. They physically escorted him away like he was just some overhyped party crasher. He rolled up thinking he was still big time, but security said, "Nah, the clout's expired." And the cringe didn't stop there. On his way out, he tried signing people's stuff, thinking fans would swarm him. But nope, people looked at him like, "Bro, we're good." It was awkward, desperate, and sad. Salt Bae isn't just a controversial chef. He's the guy who bought into his own meme so hard, he forgot he had a business to run. Just scroll through his Instagram. It's a chaotic mix of 50% shirtless gym thirst traps, 30% awkward selfies with celebs who look like they'd rather be anywhere else, and 20% overly filtered shots of gold-covered meat that no one asked for. He really tried to stretch a 5-second sprinkle into a billion-dollar lifestyle brand. But here's the cold truth. You can't build a legacy off memes and mustard-colored steaks. At some point, people stop clapping for the theatrics. They want real value, not lawsuits, not clout chasing, and definitely not a $275 steak that tastes like regret. Now Salt Bae's stuck in this awkward in-between space, too famous to disappear, but too cringy to be taken seriously. And the worst part, the money ain't flowing like it used to. He's too broke to keep up the illusion. but too proud to let go of the act. Salt Bay's shutting down restaurants faster than he's gaining followers. His own staff, they're either quitting, suing, or both. His food's getting roasted all over YouTube, and not in a good way. Even Gold Leaf can't save the mess anymore. The shine's gone, and what's left? Embarrassment, served cold. Now, to be fair, he did have his moment. That sprinkle, iconic. He turned one viral move into a global steakhouse empire, and honestly, that's more than most internet stars could dream of. But somewhere along the way, it stopped being about the food, the craft, or even the vibe. It became all about ego, excess, and empty flash. The gold got heavier than the steak it wrapped, and it all came crashing down. He got burned by fire shows gone wrong, by unpaid staff, angry customers, courtrooms, critics, and the same fame he chased like it was dessert. This wasn't just bad luck. It was self-sabotage, dressed up in designer and dipped in gold. So here's the real takeaway for anyone chasing clout. Viral fame fades. Bad Yelp reviews, they stick. He could have built something real, stayed humble, earned respect, but nah, he had to play God with a salt shaker. Now let's hear from you. Was Salt Bae always a scam, or did he just get lost in the sauce? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe if you want more deep dives like this.